Excuse me! I want to be funny in this video, but your sincerity and thoughtfulness, Matthew, on making this beautiful poem about Eddie just touched my heart. Thank you so much for describing so many of the wonderful things that Eddie was, talking about how he stole your heart and stole other things from other wrestlers. Thank you so much for having just so many emotions go into your poem. It is very well written and it means a lot, and I will share this with me and my daughters so they can enjoy it as well. Thank you so much for being a fan. Thank you for loving Eddie, and thank you for the kind words to me. God bless you. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. You have my email, and please, we will keep in touch. Thank you, Matthew. God bless you. Matthew Cox, everyone, wrote a poem about Eddie, which was amazing and special and emotional. And so I encourage you guys to find him on Twitter and to listen to him. He's on YouTube as well about the poem. So it's a really great poem and touched my heart. So thank you, Matthew.
Hi, Matthew. This is Shaul Guerrero. Thank you so much for requesting that we get to talk about your amazing poem. I'm sorry I didn't get to you sooner. It's been pretty busy. I'm sure you've been seeing that I've started wrestling again, and it just all kind of blew up. But your poem was so beautiful about my dad. I especially love the end. You really followed my dad's career, and you clearly loved him so much. And it's because of people like you that my dad's memory is still alive and well. Thank you so much for loving him so much and creating your beautiful YouTube video, reading your poem. It means a lot, and honestly, like, it means a lot that you want to connect with me. I hope I can do you proud by continuing his legacy and still keeping his memory alive whenever I wrestle, whenever I dance, and whenever I am living my life, and that you do too. My dad's legacy is more than wrestling. It is honestly, it's treating people well. It's making sure when you laugh hard, and you live your life to the best, and you cheat death, steal life, live life to the fullest, and make sure you keep the family and keep the people that you love close. And yeah, viva la raza, like life to the people. Thank you so much, Matthew. I hope we can meet in person one day. Stay safe in these crazy times, and te quiero mucho, viva la raza, and I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.
Matthew, Chavo Guerrero Jr. here. I just watched your video for Eddie for his 15-year passing. I can't believe it's been that long already. I just saw it on YouTube. It was great, man. Really, really good, really inspiring. You're right. He did steal the shows. He stole. He should have been called the whole effing show because he was. Humbling, man, for sure, to see that people still love and remember Eddie, the guy that you saw on TV. His heart, it came through. It came through the TV, and we all knew him without knowing that you knew him. He was a great guy, good Christian, good man, good friend, like you said. He was awesome. I appreciate the video very much. I know his family will also. Very, very good, man. I can see that he had an effect on your life as he had an effect on mine also. So, Matthew, God bless you, man. Thanks for doing that. Thanks for remembering Eddie. Eddie still lives, and he's still looking down on us, like you said. And really thank you for that, and humbled for that. Humbled to still have fans like you that still remember him. So again, Matthew, God bless you, man. Eddie's looking down and thanking you for that. So, and from Eddie, viva la raza.
Hey, what's good? Matthew, it's your coach, WWE. You know what time it is. And I got to tell you, my man, your dedication to Eddie Guerrero and his memory is very, very moving. impressive. And I enjoy meeting people, whether it's virtually or in person, who have a love for someone and follow through on it. And clearly you have for Eddie Guerrero. It's been so many years since he left us tragically. And I will never forget the day it happened. I was eating breakfast in Minneapolis. I was actually, you want an Eddie Guerrero story that nobody else has heard. He was actually in the room directly above mine at the hotel in Minneapolis when he passed away. And that was a little unnerving to know that he was so close to me just above. But at the same time, in a weird way, we all kind of felt closer to him. Eddie had a way of making everybody feel good. We all knew he had his demons. We all knew he had issues. But hell, all of us have issues. All of us have demons. And I think he's one pro wrestler. I won't even call him a WWE superstar. He was the epitome of being a pro wrestler. And he loved it. He loved it more than anything. He loved his heritage. He loved his where he came from. He loved his family. And he loved everybody that he worked with as well. We will never forget Eddie Guerrero, but the more time that passes, it takes people like you to remember him. Because one of my favorite broadcasters of all time once said, the greatest thing in life is to be remembered. And so I give you, Matthew, incredible kudos for remembering Eddie Guerrero. Good luck. Keep writing those poems, and I'd love to keep reading them. Be good.
Matthew Cox, it's me, Jerry the King Lawler. That's right, buddy. And I just wanted to come along and tell you how much I enjoyed your poem about Eddie Guerrero. Eddie Guerrero Forever and Always on your YouTube channel. And I really enjoyed it. I really did. And I could tell that it was coming from the heart. I could tell how much of a fan and how much you thought of Eddie Guerrero. And you know what? You're not alone. I'm telling you that. So many people loved Eddie Guerrero, and I was one of them. Man, I was there. I remember when Eddie and Dean Malenko and Chris Benoit came over from WCW as the Radicals when they first showed up. And I'll be honest with you, when they first showed up in WWE, here's a story that nobody knows. I thought those guys were too small. You know, it was a time when we had just fought so hard at the WWE against WCW, trying to put these guys out of business. Then all of a sudden, we started using the WCW talent. And I personally, when I saw the Radicals, they showed up on Monday Night Raw, I said, these guys will never make it. They're too small. And that was what I thought at the time. But I'll tell you what, they all proved me wrong, especially Eddie Guerrero. Oh my gosh, this guy was so talented. And here's something you may not know, Matthew. And speaking of your YouTube channel, you need to go on my YouTube channel, King Jerry Lawler's YouTube channel, or either just type in on YouTube and look up some matches that I had with Eddie Guerrero's uncle, Hector Guerrero. And you'll see where Eddie got a lot of his talent from. I mean, the whole Guerrero family was amazing. But I'll tell you what, I really loved it later on. Another thing that's cool, you know, I at first I had my doubts about Eddie when I saw him, and who would have ever thought that Eddie Guerrero would make it into the WWE Hall of Fame before I did? That's right. Eddie was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2006. I didn't make it till 2007. But I just used to love, at first I loved, I'll tell you a few of the things, Matthew, that I really loved about Eddie Guerrero. I loved when he used to show up in those cars, those crazy cars, the lowriders that would bounce up and down and up and down. That was so hilarious to me. I mean, that was so Eddie Guerrero. That was so in his character. Matter of fact, I was so impressed by all these different cars that he would show up with every week. I decided to go out and get myself a special car. I didn't get a lowrider, but I did get this. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing, Matthew, Eddie Guerrero and I would have looked so cool riding around town, in this Batmobile. Can you imagine seeing the King and Eddie Guerrero waving at all the pretty girls, checking out the puppies, if you know what I mean? Yeah, and speaking of puppies, Eddie Guerrero, I guess one of my other favorite things about Eddie Guerrero was when he had the romantic relationship with China. Oh my gosh, it was so great to hear him call her Mamacita. And I get to say Latino Heat. If you remember that, you go back and check out some of the Monday Night Raws, and that was my favorite saying about Eddie Guerrero, Latino Heat. Well, listen, Matthew, I hope you enjoyed this. I always enjoy thinking about and talking about Eddie Guerrero. He was one of the all-time greats, and I know you know that too. I could tell it by your poem, Forever and Always, about Eddie Guerrero. Okay, Matthew, check you out later, man.
Matthew, how you doing? I want to start off by apologizing for not turning this video in on time. I was out of town, like I mentioned in my message, and I didn't have a mask with me, which is rare. But the reason being is I was on a family matter, so I didn't think I needed it. But anyways, here I am now at home and with the mask on. So let's go. So I saw your video, your poem on YouTube, and I loved it. I loved how explicit you were and how detailed you were with the events that happened throughout Eddie's career. One of my favorite moments of all time was when Kurt Angle put him in the ankle lock and his boot slipped out and Eddie was able to get the win. I thought that was awesome. Really, really genuine. I don't think nobody nowadays would be able to pull off what Eddie did back in the day. You know, really, really entertaining. And you're right, you're absolutely right. A lot of fans around the world knew Eddie, knew him so much, but never had the chance to meet him. They only knew the Eddie that they saw on TV. And, for those fans that were able to meet him, I can imagine it was a true blessing because Eddie had the biggest heart, the biggest soul, to me in this universe. So I miss him a lot. And I'm just truly blessed that I was able to share special moments with Eddie in the ring and outside the ring. So one of my stories that I love telling about Eddie and myself is one time we had a SmackDown event in San Diego, invited him to come over to the house for dinner. My wife prepared some dinner and set up a room for Eddie to spend the night. Eddie was like, no, I'm okay. I'm gonna go stay at my hotel. My wife was like, no, you're staying here. Like we say in Spanish, su casa es mi casa. So Eddie ended up spending the night with us, had dinner. Eventually, my wife went to bed. My kids went to bed. Dominic and Aaliyah were very young. And I had a chance to spend some alone time with Eddie, conversational time. We went to my backyard, jumped in the jacuzzi. It was probably midnight. We stayed there for about maybe 3.5 hours, just talking about life, friendship, parenting, wrestling. It was the most incredible time, and I'm truly, truly blessed that I was able to spend quality time with Eddie outside of this industry. It's just alone time, and it was something really beautiful that I will cherish with me for forever. So may Eddie rest in peace. God bless him. And I know we will meet one day. Viva la raza. Thank you, Matthew. Booyaka 619.
Hey, Matthew, it's your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle. I listened to your poem for Eddie, Always and Forever. I have to tell you that nobody is ever going to forget who Eddie was. Nobody's ever going to forget how he beat Brock Lesnar to win his first WWE championship. Eddie Guerrero was one of a kind. Probably the greatest wrestler I ever wrestled of all time. Overall entertainer, nobody better. I'm sorry that he was your hero and that, you saw him pass too quickly. And I think we all felt the same way. But I want you to get inspiration from Eddie and understand that he was a fighter and he never gave up. I mean, the last few years he was suffering dearly and he was able to keep it together for all the fans, for you. And I want you to know and appreciate that. Anyway, I wish you the best and I hope I meet you someday. Take care and God bless. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
I am Vickie Guerrero, and this extraordinary video broadcast is dedicated to one of my favorite men in the entire multiverse, one who shares my same namesake, yes, and that is you, Matthew. Matthew, I cannot tell a lie. I absolutely loved your beautiful poem about the one and only Latino heat. Your poem, Eddie Guerrero, forever and always, is absolutely prepossessing. I watched it on your YouTube channel, yes. I thought it was beautiful. It was sweet. It was so detailed, and I loved your background with all of his photos in it because it set the ambiance. It set the mood, yes. You said so many things that was so beautiful, so touching. I absolutely adore your poem, my friend, and I shall send it to my brother Nero, Jeff Hardy. I shall show it to my children, King Maxo, Lord Wolfgang, and Czar Boss. And you thank me for the entertainment I have provided you over the years. I thank you, Matthew, for supporting me all these years. Because without you, there would be no me, yes. So thank you very much, my friend. I hope you and your family and your friends and your loved one have an absolutely outstanding remainder of 2020.
Message for Matthew. Matthew, great poem on Eddie Guerrero. I really enjoyed it. It was very detailed and thought out. We all love Eddie, you know, we all miss him. It's awesome how he is carrying on as such an icon. You know, like, I think he's kind of immortal in that way because so many people now use this man as a symbol for their beliefs, which is great. I mean, you know, he was great at representing his heritage, his beliefs. I remember one time Stephanie McMahon used Eddie as an example when she was trying to tell me what the McMahons needed to see from me. And she said that, you know, Eddie went to my dad and he said, I'm gonna be your champion again. You wait and see. And that stuck out because that told me how much Eddie was really determined. And I guess he had the championship belt, then lost it, and then he told him he was gonna get it back again. And that was pretty cool. He was a very stand-up guy, you know. He had his lines that you don't cross because he was like very intense. I remember one time in the dressing room after a match with Kurt Angle, they were mad at there was a heated exchange, and Eddie leg dived Kurt in the dressing room and like took him down. And it's like, you know, we're wrestlers, we're physical, so when there's an issue, that's always the bottom line. Is like, you know, you're gonna use your physicality to solve issues. And so Eddie was everything. He was old school, he was new school, and I'm, you know, glad to have had so many great matches with him. You know, wish I had more time with him and, you know, more stories to share with you. But great job, Matthew. Thanks for reaching out. Best wishes from Rob Van Dam.
Hello, Matthew. I just watched your lovely tribute to Eddie Guerrero on your YouTube channel of Coxie's Hobbies. And it's called Eddie Guerrero Forever. You should check it out. I thought it was pretty good. And the fact that you still love Eddie Guerrero because you look like you're kind of young and you may have not seen his career because he left us way too soon. The fact that he touched you in such a way that you wrote a nice little poem about him, and that is awesome. And I enjoy your creativity. You're asking me to tell an Eddie Guerrero story. I think we all know many Eddie Guerrero stories. I've wrestled Eddie. I've known Eddie since the original ECW, something that was around way before you were born. And I got to wrestle him on Sunday Night Heat. You could probably find it on the WWE Network or on YouTube. And he attacked me as soon as I got into the ring. And it's because the referee told us it was time to go home. And there's not a lot of people that even back then I would let be a ring general. But I allowed Eddie Guerrero because he had that respect. And we had a hell of a match. And I always loved working Eddie. I worked him about 10 times. I go to my official record book, but I don't want to because I'm standing outside on a nice day here in the USA in November. So, very cool that you wrote a nice little poem about Eddie, and I hope you have a great day, and I'm sure he would love it. Peace.
All right, Matthew, you gotta love it. In memory of Eddie Guerrero, dude. As in a story, dude, I just remember I was in Ireland, and my ring music just started to play, and then we got the news over Eddie, and I went to the ring with my music, drinking beers with some tears in my eyes, dude. And Eddie was just a great guy, and that's all I gotta say. Peace. I'm out.
My name is Raven, professional wrestling superstar, and this is for Matthew for a memory of Eddie Guerrero, and it's booked by Matthew Cox. Would you like me to tell you an unheard memory story about Eddie? It will mean a lot. Thanks for your WWF work. You're a legend. I don't really have any great Eddie stories. I mean, other than, I could just tell you the usual. He's a great guy. So wonderful, so nice, and so talented, And one time I was at his house. He invited me and a bunch of the wrestlers over to his house for, I forget, for lunch or something, or whatever. And I always remember he had this picture on his wall of his dad, Gory Guerrero, doing a bridge with a piece of wood on top of him. He's, that bridge on his neck with a piece of wood on top of him, and the entire family with Chavo Sr., Mando, Hector, Eddie, the mom, the sisters, all standing on the board, and his dad was bridging, holding all those people up. It was the greatest picture I ever saw. Every time I see Mando, I always tell him to Mando. I called him Mando Guerrero, Mando from Mandalorian. That's why. Anyway, quote the Raven, nevermore.
Hi, Matthew. This is Al Snow, former WWE superstar. I just wanted to tell you that I watched your poem, and I want to thank you. Eddie Guerrero was a very close friend, and so was Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn and Bob Holly, and we all kind of ran together, traveled the roads together, and I'm always appreciative of fans of wrestling, but it means even more to me that my friend Eddie Guerrero touched your life in such a way that it motivated you to write a poem, and that means a lot. And I know a whole lot to Eddie. Eddie, just because Eddie's not physically here doesn't mean that he's totally gone. And I'm sure that, for Eddie, that means the world to him too, that you would, write something like that. I hope you're doing well. I hope you stay safe during this time with your family. And please continue to be a fan and, just have a good life and have fun and tell the people you love that you love them before it's too late. All right? Thank you very much. And God bless you, kid. Take care, Matthew.
Hey, Matthew, Godfather here. I just went and watched your video or your tribute to Eddie Guerrero. I liked it. I'm not going to pick one thing. Well, one thing I liked is I didn't know that you said Batista. I think you said Dave Batista has one of his lowriders. One of me and Eddie's, my biggest memories of Eddie were we used to talk about lowriders. I had a 64 Chevy lowrider, and I had a couple other lowriders, and we used to just talk cars all the time. And I used to work out in a lot of hotel gyms with him because he did a lot of cardio, and I did too. So we'd always talk about cars and lowriders. So I didn't know if I'd have to go back and watch the video, but I think you said Dave Batista has one of his lowriders. And I think that's too cool. I mean, I know Dave wouldn't sell it, but next time I talk to him, I'm going to try to see if there's, I'd love to have a lowrider from Eddie. But it was a solid tribute. Eddie was a great guy. It's too bad. Well, a lot of these wrestlers today or in the past, they have demons, and those demons catch up to them. And it's just too bad. but great guy. He was a good friend of mine, and loved him to death. I see how I'm smiling thinking about him, man. It was like him, Owen, and so many other people that were just great guys. And he was a great wrestler, could work with anybody, and he could get anything over. He was that good. His whole family's that good. So, good video, a great tribute. God bless you, man. Happy holidays, and stay safe. Peace.
Matthew, Badass Billy Gunn here, of course. So I liked it. I liked the poem. It's good. It's heartfelt. Had everything that you need to put in it. Good poem. I'm not much into poems, but that was probably one of the best I've heard. As much as Eddie Guerrero's stories, he was just as good in and out of the ring. I only got to wrestle him a couple times. Funny story, one of the first times we wrestled, I pressed him over my head, and he kept telling me to drop my hand, and I didn't know what he was saying, and he kind of swiped my hand, and all of a sudden I was pressing Eddie with one hand over my head just like this. It was amazing. He was an amazing guy. He was an amazing worker. Truly is one of the greatest ever that I've ever been in the ring with. Just phenomenal. But that's about it. I wish I had more stories. I don't have a lot of stories. But thanks for reaching out. I hope this helps. And keep up the good work. If you're not down with Eddie Guerrero, I got 2 words for you. Suck it.
Matthew, how's it going, man? I watched your poem on YouTube. I don't know, I think it captured the essence of Eddie. He was 1 in a billion. He was an incredible performer, had a heart of gold. Just a good dude. A story that probably nobody's heard is X-Pac was wrestling Eddie in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And we were tired, man. I was really tired. Scott was tired. And we went down with X-Pac just to kind of hang out and watch the match. And maybe we'd get involved and maybe we wouldn't. And Eddie tore it up so hard, man. Like him and Pac they just killed it. And then when it was time for X-Pac to start feeding, Scott started feeding, I started feeding, and we just kept feeding him. And, it was, Eddie had that incredible timing. I think he gave us all a frog splash off the top, one at a time. But it was the night that I'll remember. And so he's missed, man. You have a good Christmas, my friend. God bless.
Hey, Matthew, it's me, X-Pac. I went and the other night when you first sent the request, I went and watched your video, Eddie Guerrero, Forever and Always, and I really enjoyed it. It was almost like a poem / love letter to your favorite wrestler, and it was so authentic, man. I really enjoyed it. I think my favorite part of the whole poem is when you said, "Let's reminisce," and then you started talking about when the Big Show got sewage dumped all over him, and when Kurt Angle went to put the ankle lock on him and on Eddie, and and his boot slipped off. And those are things, like it was really cool to remember them as I'm listening to you read your poem. And so thank you so much, man. I could tell how much you love Eddie, and I loved him too. And he was a good friend. He was a good friend to a lot of us. And we miss him, man. We miss him a lot. And Matthew, again, thank you so much, man. And thank you for having patience, because I wanted to do this right, and I wanted to watch your video again. So I could speak from the heart when I'm talking about it. And oh yeah, one more thing. I got 2 words for you. Happy holidays.
Matthew, what's going on, man? I appreciate you having a fond love of Eddie Guerrero, a guy that I call friend. Poetry is awesome. It's one of the things I love the most in this world. I'm glad you enjoy it too. And good job. I'd also, tell you a little story. There was a time when I was doing a lot of funny stuff and having fun, and Eddie asked me what I saw in the mirror. And I told him that I see a guy that likes to have a good time. He said, well, I'm going to tell you what I see. I see a monster. I see somebody that should just take what he wants, and then you can fall out. If I was your size, I would be not only the world champion, but they would have to lock me in jail to keep everybody safe. And I said, well, thank God you're not me, Eddie. And he laughed and laughed and laughed. And, that was kind of the way Eddie was. He was a really, really cool dude, and I enjoyed all the time that I had with him. Thank you so much. Give Matthew Cox a big hug and a handshake, a fist bump, an elbow bump. It's COVID. You got to be careful. You can't be too careful. But I definitely appreciate you being a fan of his and of pro wrestling. God bless, and we appreciate you.
Hello, Matthew. This is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and I have just finished watching your beautiful poem and tribute to Eddie Guerrero, and I'm going to send it out on Twitter, and because that'd be the best way for people to check it out. It'd be difficult to send it to every wrestler involved in my poem, because I don't actually have a way to contact every wrestler in your poem. But I think if it's okay with you, and let me know in your feedback before I send it out a link on Twitter. Let me know, because I think people should know about this poem, should know how much Eddie meant to you. And I think the words you say are very wise. You point out all of the ways that Eddie Guerrero is remembered to this day, and more importantly, how his memory carries on with those whose lives he touched. From the frog splashes that we see, every one of them a tribute to Eddie, to Sasha Banks' entire career, which is in its own way a tribute to Eddie, to the Three Amigos being done, and the fact that so many of his colleagues thought so highly of him. Now, I've known Eddie since, 1995, but my favorite Eddie moment for me was 2003 or 2004, when I roomed with Eddie in Afghanistan. So because I was an F, Foley, he was a G, Guerrero, they had us room together. We stayed up all night talking. We had a lot in common, even though we came from very different backgrounds. And also, I was one of the few guys of the current WWE era. Back then, I mean, I'm a generation before now, but one of the few guys of my era who wrestled all of Eddie's brothers. So it was really a great time for me to get to know Eddie. Really treasure those moments. And when I get the word from you, Matthew, I will get the word out. I think people should see your poem and know how much Eddie meant to you, and know how he continues to inspire people, even if he never met them. So thank you, Matthew, for being such a big fan. Thank you for thinking of me to watch your great and moving tribute. And I hope that all of your days will be nice.
Hey, Matthew, Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And I think you did a great job. Eddie Guerrero forever and always on your YouTube channel is pretty cool. Do I know the Guerreros? Matthew, I have known the Guerrero family almost my entire life. As a matter of fact, my father, who was also a wrestler, wrestled for Eddie's father when Eddie's father was a wrestling promoter in El Paso, Texas. I have known Chavo and Hector Guerrero for years and years and years. And just so you know, although Eddie went through a lot of stuff, Eddie had a lot of problems in his life, but he got it right. He got it straight, and he got right not only in himself, but also with God. And when I was back working for the WWE in the background as a producer, Eddie would come to me at the TV matches before he went to the ring and ask me to pray with him. So he was totally dedicated. It's sad that he went young like he did. there is forgiveness for our sins, but there are also consequences. But when he went, you can be sure that he's with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because he was really a great guy. So I hope that answers your questions, Matthew. But as the $1 Million Man, and just as a little treat, I just got to remind you of this before I go. Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man. Thanks, pal. God bless you.
Yo, Matthew. What's up, bro? It's me, DDP. That's right. Diamond Dallas Page, the king of bada bing, the master of the diamond cutter, the 3-time world champion, WWE Hall of Famer, and founder and CEO of DDP Yoga. Better known today, Matthew, as DDPY. Why, you may ask? Because I want people to stop calling it just effing yoga. That's why. Let's talk about your poem for starters. I thought it was a really awesome tribute. Didn't really see it as a poem, but I'm not really a poem guy, so I don't know what's what. I just thought you did a really nice job for a tribute for him. So I know you want to hear some stories about Eddie. And this stuff was, I barely ever even talked about this. It made me think about, my history. I have to give you a little background before that. Actually, when I first met Eddie, I was with Jake Snake Roberts. And how that happened was Jake and I were pretty good buddies from when he came into WCW. We'd met each other at a nightclub that I used to run in Fort Myers, Florida. And that's where we met. And later on, I became a wrestler, of course. And Jake was, with WCW for about 3 months. And me and Kevin Nash were like we carried his bags, we got the car, we were his driver. We were just looking to, really looking to get as much knowledge from Jake, as we could, because we both admired him so much. And then Bill Watts came in to run the territory, and Jake, they hated each other, and Jake was out on his ass. And not too much longer, I tore my rotator cuff in this arm. And he heard about it, Jake did, and he called me up, and thought that was really fucking cool, he asked me how I was doing, and told me he was split up from his wife, and he was living in a Marriott. And that's not really a big deal for us because we live in hotels as wrestlers, you know what I mean? So we're always on the road. So, but I knew I wanted to give him a place of, he wasn't on the road all the time. He was just doing independent stuff then. So I asked my wife at the time, Kimberly, if he could move in with us. And I knew he could teach me a lot, and I knew I could help him a lot. And she was all for it. And he stayed with us about 3 months, right on up till he lost a 12-foot black cobra in our house. Boy, that was a shit show. Bottom line is, Jake was out after that, but he still stayed, mentoring me. And he would look at my matches and help direct me, and pretty much anything he got booked on, he pretty much would get me involved with on the show and give me a chance to talk to the promoter and see if I get myself booked on the show. And so we're doing something with AAA Mexico, which brings us to how I got to Eddie. Now, I was already working with the Guerrero family in the AWA as a manager, managing Bad Company. And we had a feud with them for damn close to a year. But I got to work with Eddie's brothers because he was the baby of the group, Hector and Mondo. And Mondo was the first guy ever I saw jump off the top rope down on us on the floor. And Pat Tanaka and Paul Diamond knew it was coming, but I didn't. And I was like, what the fuck? Flying off the top rope. I was my first week in professional wrestling.
And what's crazy is that angle I was telling you about with AEW. I guess I don't know if you saw it or not, but at the end of that match that would eventually I would be in, I came off the top rope down to the guys on the floor, and the place lost their minds. And all I could think about was Mondo Guerrero, because he's the one that I'd never seen that before. So in Mexico with Jake, and he's teaming with, it's 6-man tag, he's teaming with Art Barr and Eddie Guerrero. And I never met Eddie, but I knew his brothers. And I'll tell you what, and Eddie would have told you this, Art Barr at the time was actually better than Eddie. And unfortunately, Art, you know, like Eddie, died way too young. And I want to say Art died in his 20s. But what a cool dude he was, too. But I got to know Eddie there. And, you know, later we would cook up in WCW. But Jake's main angle was with Conan. Back before his WCW days, when he was in Mexico, AAA, he was so over. I mean, I seen it, man. I want to say we were at the Olympic Sportatorium, which held like 17,000 people, and they were hanging from the rafters, man. And Conan just blew the roof off when he came out. But the match those guys had was unbelievable. And I was just like an enforcer on the outside. But Jake got so much heat, it was scary. Eddie was amazing. So when Eddie gets to WCW, I know him, you know, and, you know, we were boys. We weren't super tight, but we were tight, you know, and when I got my big push, right before it ever happened, Eddie was the guy that I worked for. Not worked for, but worked with. And Eddie really helped me get over, not just with the people in the arena, but the boys in the back. Like Eddie, like he showed that, wow, DDP is really getting good. This is all like through the end of 1996. And it all came off an angle that we started where he beat me, but after he beat me with like a schoolboy or something, he got his hand raised and I spun him around, boom, hit him with a diamond cutter. Then I picked him up and I hit him with another one. Then I put him on the top rope, and I'd never done that before. And I just pulled him out and I hit him with another one. And then I pulled the belt off the referee and I whipped the fuck out of him. And you know, this is all pre-planned, like Eddie knows, right? And then Chavo ran in, make the save, and I just powdered out. And then me and Chavo had a little run, and you know, I beat him at the pay-per-view. And then Eddie came back, and now Eddie's going to get, you know, he's going to get fired up, and we do the whole angle on all the road shows. Like we were in the first matches. I mean, I wasn't anywhere. Eddie was above me, but I wasn't. Yeah, I was at the bottom of the mid card at that time. But every night we were going out and stealing the show. I mean, we're doing so good, and Eddie helped elevate me. Like I said, not just with the fans, but with the boys in the back. It was awesome. And we ended up at Halloween Havoc in 1996. And this is right before my career explodes off the my affiliation with the NWO and dropping Kevin Nash and Scott Hall with a diamond cutter after I put the NWO shirt on. That blew the roof off. But my matches with Eddie were becoming like legendary, you know, as far as people going, man, these guys are going. And again, people didn't really think I could do that back then, but Eddie helped showcase me. So this is the craziest part. Remember I told you about Mondo coming off the top rope? I'd never seen that before. Then, you know, in retrospect, later I would do it, you know, for probably my last wrestling appearance ever. Here I am in 1996, 24 years ago.
And me and Eddie are in MGM Grand. We're like mid-card, and we're fucking tearing it down. And Eddie comes off the top rope, like 20 feet in the air, and comes down on me. And I don't know it, but he's hurt. And he's not selling it. And if you look at all the things that he does after that, it's unbelievable to me that he kept going, because I know the pain he was in. What he had done when he had come out and just bellied himself out there when he came down, you hit your ribs sometimes. In between your ribs it's not red muscle, it's white muscle, because there's no blood can fit in there because it's so restricted. And when you hit that, man, breathing, it hurts you. And so Eddie's supposed to do a frog splash on me. That's the finish. And at some point, you'll see me go to pick Eddie up, and he says, "Diamond cutter." I'm like, "No, Eddie." Like, "Diamond cutter, diamond cutter." And I just grab him and hit him with a cutter. Roll him over, 1, 2, 3. I was not supposed to win that match. That was kind of crazy. And it helped elevate me again. And it wasn't supposed to be like that. But Eddie was hurting, and he could have just schoolboyed me, right there, like, "Schoolboy, stay down, don't kick out." I'm like, all right. He could have said that to me, but he didn't. He let me have the win. And it was a really cool spot, that really helped me get to the next spot. So that's your Eddie Guerrero story that really, I've talked about it a little bit here and there, but not many people heard that. Bang! Monkey. All right, Matthew. I hope you dug the stories. See ya.
Hey, Matthew, what's going on, man? It's Devon W here, Hall of Famer. And, well, I hear you're doing a memorial for the late, great Eddie Guerrero. I did go on YouTube. I did watch your tribute to him. Excellent job. Great putting everything together with the poetry. Very, very good stuff. One thing that people need to understand is that Eddie Guerrero wasn't just a wrestler. Eddie Guerrero was a great man. He was a friend. He was a husband. He was a father. He was just a great human being. We all have demons that we have to conquer in this business and in life. But the one thing I will say is that Eddie conquered those demons. And although it tried to take him out, he refused to. He wanted to get his life right with God before he had to leave us. And that's exactly what he did. He helped so many people along the way, people that were just coming up in the business. And it was unheard of for a man like Eddie, who was still on top of his game, to take the time to help out the younger talent. Eddie Guerrero was a God-fearing man, a good man, a man that put God first before anything else. I had a lot of great memories with Eddie. Having my first singles match with him was unbelievable. I'm nervous as all hell. He was the one that guided me and told me, just relax, don't worry about it, we got this. Hell, we called half of the stuff in the ring. That's a lost art in itself. But that was the type of person Eddie was. Eddie would help those who were in need. Eddie would make sure that you understood what was going to happen in that ring when you were with him. And even if you wasn't with him, he would sit and watch your matches and then tell you about it. I thank you, Matthew, for basically doing this tribute for Eddie. Because again, he wasn't just a wrestler. He was truly a friend. God bless you, my brother. Thank you for what you've done. And please, keep the memory of Eddie alive and well. And I'm pretty much sure that he's smiling down on you right now, telling you thank you. And he appreciates everything. Thank you for all your support for the WWE, for the WWE superstars, past, present, and even future in NXT. Keep doing what you're doing, and know that we have nothing but respect for you, Matt. Thank you, and testify. Thank you, my brother.
Hey, this is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is a very special shout out going out to Matthew. And I just want to wish you all the best, Matthew. Thanks for being a big fan of mine. I did get a chance to look at your poem and hear it, and just know that, you know, I think it's great. You did a great job. I know Eddie would be really proud of you. Eddie was one of those kind of guys that never forgot his fans. He always believed in his fans. He was a great guy. And I want to thank you for being a longtime fan of mine and his. Thanks for being a big fan of wrestling. Thanks for always being in our corner. Thanks for cheering us on for years. And as far as a good story about Eddie, all I can tell you is that he was a great guy. And when I came to WCW, the little time that we were together, he was one of those kind of guys that was always watching my back and always kind of looking out for me, and always, you know, kind of an ear to listen to and tell me what the latest scoops were on what was going on. And he was just a guy that was, for no reason other than just having respect for me, he was a friend of mine, and he was always there for me. And I've always thought the world of Eddie Guerrero, and I've missed him since he's been gone. I'm good friends with the rest of his family, but I can just tell you, he'd be really proud of your poem. Just keep up the good work. Hang in there. I know it's a tough time in the world, but stay safe, and God bless.
We asked for any memories from our listeners or any thoughts on Eddie, and we thank you so much to Matthew Cox, who has sent us his audio version of his poem he wrote about Eddie. So we are going to let Matthew play us out, but before we do, we're just going to say thank you for listening.
Everybody wants to fight me. Do you feel it? Hey, oye lo claro, I ain't the one you wanna meet. Hay nada más caliente. I'm too hot for you. Yo, Latino heat.